Okay, Bundy. So firstly, I'd like to say thank you for participating in this interview.
That too.
As part of my degree, I am enrolled in a unit called Sports Practicum. As part of this unit, I am required to interview coaches and players within the community. I will be asking you a set of questions related to how you use feedback and questioning within your team and sporting club.
No worries.
So, first of all, I'd like to ask you, what is your philosophy of coaching and its relationship to education?
Well, my philosophy with coaching is there is a performance side of sport, but it's got to be done through the enjoyment of sport. So when I'm coaching, yes, we've got to be working hard. Yes, we've got to be developing skills, but it is through having fun and the players are enjoying their time being there. That's what keeps them within the sport. In terms of education, sport's not just about actual sport. It's we're building people, we're building members of our community. So it's educating them on the right things to do, the right roles to have, and the right ethics and things like that. Not just in sport, but also their attitude and how they go about their business.
Thank you. Very specific. So next of all, I'd just like to know how you understand the concept of feedback.
Feedback probably goes both ways, especially with sport. It's yes, it's all good for me as a coach to be giving the athletes my feedback on what I think they should be doing and how I think they can improve. But it's also there's a role where the athlete needs to go and give me feedback on what they think and what they think it works really well for them and what they think doesn't work so well for them. So it's a two-way street.
Yeah, I agree with that too. So I'd just like to know, how did you apply feedback with your athletes?
Typically when I look at feedback and I'm going to try and talk to my athletes and improve areas of their game, it's through constructive criticism. It's yeah, you've got to be specific about what you're doing, but I look at it as more of a sandwich model where I see what they're doing right and I applaud them and I say they're doing a really good job in one area and I tell them how they can improve in another area and then I give them the positive again just so they're not just constantly copying criticism or what they can constantly improve, but they are getting reassurance that they are doing things really well.
Okay, great. Do you apply any extrinsic feedback?
Probably more of a motivational intrinsic method. So there's usually a little bit of a reward here there. They're achieving what we've set out to do. That's their feedback method.
So how do your players take responsibility for self-feedback and reflection?
In our team, we have logbooks. So after every session, after every game, I have the athletes fill out their logbooks and they evaluate how well they think they went, if they applied what they learned from it, what they did well, and then generally at the end of each week I'll go through that logbook and I'll mark it, and often I'll agree, often I'll disagree, and that way they can get very written feedback as well, and they can track their improvement over the course of the year.
Yeah, logbook. That's a really cool idea. So I'd just like to know how you plan on communicating your plans and expectations with the parents.
What we do twice a year, so at the start of the year and halfway through the year, we'll have team meetings. Typically, these team meetings I'll start in the room just with the athletes, and then because I want to have that time just with me as the coach and them as the athlete, and then halfway through I'll bring the parents in. That way they can all be on board and send messages. Additionally to that, I use an email system, and also we have a Google Docx file where they can go on every week and they can see the program that's coming up. They can see some events that they need to be attending to, and also I'll put on additional information for things like nutrition and advice.
Yeah, cool. So same thing with the parents. How do you communicate your discipline and consequence?
These sort of things come into effect when we have our meetings. So we set out the rules, the standards that we have. For example, training starts at 5. You're late as at 4:45. I expect every athlete to be there at 4:45, and if they're not, then there will be consequences. If they're coming in after 5 o'clock, they won't actually be able to come in. The gates are locked.
Yep. Okay. So do you ask the parents how they're happy for you to apply?
They're fairly well on board with it. it's a system where I say, look, this is the structure. We're a team, and we're going to do this together. The team doesn't work if 2 or 3 players aren't participating in their fair share. So it's all in, and it seems to work quite well. Usually within the first few weeks, 1 or 2 members will sometimes push it. Come a little bit late, a little bit consequence. Sometimes they'll come very late and they won't actually go participate. Generally by week 3, everyone's on board and everyone's bought into the program.
Yeah, awesome. So just a few more questions. How do you plan on improving as a coach from year to year in terms of feedback and questioning?
I think improvement is really important. I think as soon as you think that you're doing everything right is when you start doing everything wrong. Self-analysing yourself, going over each program, going after every event is really, really important. Thinking, yeah, this was good, but what can we do better? On top of that, we have yearly conferences that we go to. So as coaches, we all get together and we discuss what works really well within our team, what we can improve on, who has ideas, and we go to lectures. And after every season, I have all my athletes write down their feedback. I keep that very confidential. I don't get them to write their name on it. They've all put it in the box, and that way I get honest feedback, and I get to find out what they really enjoyed, what they didn't enjoy, what they thought they worked, what they thought they didn't.
Okay, that's a really cool strategy. So next, I'd just like to ask you about your typical pre-game, halftime, and post-game feedback and questioning time.
When it's on game day, I think a lot of my feedback or more instruction is to the point. In these situations, we need a leader, we need someone to stand up, and that's what I'll do, along with the captain. And I'm giving it straight on. Pre-game, during game, it's my message. This is how it's going to get done, just so the team is clear, precise on what we're doing. Post-game is when we'll go into a bit more discussion, and I'll ask for their feedback.
Yeah, and you just reflect on the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And last but not least, can you describe your strengths and weaknesses as a coach?
I think as a strength, I'm very organised. Everything's planned out. Everything's, the entire year is mapped out at the very start. It does allow for a little bit of flexibility in there, but it's definitely organised. Everything's planned out. Everything's ready to go. In terms of a weakness, I could probably bring on a little bit more parent support. I try to avoid. I like running a tight ship and I like running it my way. I know certain clubs do have more parent involvement. Perhaps that's something I can look into.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for your time and all the best for the rest of the season.
Thank you.